Welcome to my top 10 game-changing tips in Excel. If you have to mask off sensitive data from your dataset, say for example in this Excel spreadsheet I have a credit card number, I want to mask off the first 12 digit from the credit card number with an asterisk. This is how you do it. Say equal, double quote, and you're going to put 12 asterisks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Double quote. You're going to put n to concatenate, and you're going to use the function called write. Open parenthesis, select this cell, comma, 4 is a number of digits you're going to show, which means it's 9966. If you need 5 digits, you put 5 here. So once that's done, this is what it looks like. And to apply to all the rows, just double click on this square box here, and all the rows are applied with this formula. You can also change the asterisk to pound if you like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then there you go. And this technique can also be used to hide or mask things like social security number, phone number, or any other sensitive data you might have in your dataset. If your dataset has a number and you like to apply a unit, try not to do this. This is too much work, tedious, and can lead to error. Let me show you another way to do this. First, select the cell that you want to add the unit to. Then you press Ctrl 1. A format cell window should appear. Click on number, click on customs, and on this type text box, you're going to type 0 space double quote PCS to indicate pieces and double quote to close it. And then click OK. As you can see, now the engineering unit or the units is available for you there. Now you're going to apply the units to all the rows. What you do is that you click on Format Painter and you select all the rows that you want to apply the unit to. As you can see, all the rows have units now. You can notice that at the bottom, there's no numbers. Now this one has the unit there. If you start entering numbers, you can see that the units will follow on suit as well. The beauty of using this method is that at the end of the day, if you want to do a summation at the bottom here by pressing alternate equal and hit enter, you are able to do summation. If you manually typed it in, it is treated as a string and you cannot do manual calculation, or that particular cell will be ignored. So that's how I do or deal with whole numbers. Now, how do you work with numbers that has decimal places? This is how you do it. So I can see here, I've got at least 3 decimal places here. I want to preserve it. Select the cell that you want to add unit to. We're going to add kilogram in here. Press Ctrl 1. Format cell pop-up window will come up. Make sure again you are in number tab. Click on customs, and on this type here, you're going to type 0. We say 3 decimal places, 000 space double quote kg to indicate kilogram and double quote. You can see a sample of what it's going to look like here, and click on OK. Now this one has the unit now. Now to apply the units to all the rows, you're going to select this cell and click on Format Painter, and then you're going to drag the next row below it and drag it all the way down to the very bottom here, like that. As you can see, all of them has kilogram as well. And again, like his cousin here on the side, if you type any numbers here like this, you can see that the units get automatically filled in. And likewise, I'm going to make this number a bit smaller. Likewise, if you go to the bottom, at the very bottom here, at the very bottom, if you want to do a total, press alternate equal, and you can still work with the summation and all the numbers are included in it. If you have to compare 2 or more worksheets at the same time, this is how you do it. Go to View, under Windows, you go to New Windows, and what that does is that it opens another Windows of the same workbook for you. I'm going to zoom in a bit here, and the beauty of this is that when you update this guy here to say 300, you can see the same changes are being reflected on the bottom, and likewise from the bottom, you make any changes here, the top one is also making the changes, because essentially these two are the same workbook. Another thing you can do is that you can actually navigate to different sheet while keeping the top workbook session the same. If you're working on a really large spreadsheet like this one, freezing column A and row 1 and 2 is essential. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's say, for example, if you were to scroll to the right, you can see that your column A disappears. Right? And likewise, if you scroll down, your first two header will start to disappear. So essentially, there's three ways to freeze your Excel spreadsheet panel. The first one would be to freeze the first column. So you go to View, make sure you're on the View tab here, Freeze Panel, and Freeze Column. So what this does is that it freezes this particular column A, which is your first column. And if you scroll to the right now, you can see that your column A is frozen. Let me unfreeze this again. Okay, you can also freeze the first top row. You can easily do that by going to View again and go Freeze Panel and Freeze Top. So what this does is that we only freeze the first row, which is row 1. But if you scroll down, you can see that it freezes the first top row, but by actually my header, I've got two rows. So how do you actually freeze the first two rows? To do that, you highlight the third row like this, and then you go Freeze. Again, make sure you're on View tab, Freeze Panel. So what this does is that it freezes the first two rows. If you scroll down now, you can see that your header or your first two rows are frozen. Let me unfreeze again. Likewise, you can do the same thing with column as well. Let's say, for example, if you want to freeze the first 4 columns, what you do is you highlight the 5th column, and then you go Freeze Panel, and you go Freeze Panel here again. And now you can see column A, B, C, and D, they are all frozen like this. So let me unfreeze this again. But what if you want to freeze row 1 and 2 and at the same time freeze column A? What you do is that you place your cursor right here. So you will freeze on this corner here. So which means this and this will be frozen. So select this cell here, which is B3. And now you go Freeze Panel and Freeze Panel. Now you can see if you scroll down, the top 2 rows are frozen. And if you scroll right, you realize that your column A is frozen. This is the formula that you need to use in order to count the number of words in a particular cell. There you go. This particular cell, cell A2, has 4 words. Now to apply the same formula to the rest of the row, you double click on this square box here, and you have the number of words in each of this cell. Did you know in Google Spreadsheet you can convert English text into any of these 64 different languages by using one simple formula? And to use the formula, you type equal Google Translate, and Google Translate only requires 3 arguments. The first one being the source text, which is this one here. I'm going to press F4 to make both column and row static, and then comma, and then after that the source language code will be this one here. I'm going to press F4 again to make both column and row static, comma, and the target language code would be HI for Hindi, and close parenthesis and hit enter. And I'm going to accept this autofill so that it'll fill up all the remaining of the rows with the same formula. And there you go. This English word hi is translated into 64 different languages. And you can change this on the fly too. Let's say good evening. And there you go. It translates everything for you. I'm going to put this back to hi. And let's say, for example, if I don't like English as a source languages, I'm going to call it, say, salute. Like that. And I'm going to say this is actually French. And hit enter. And you can see this French salute is converted into multiple different languages as well. If you have a pull down menu like that, and this pull down menu is affiliated to this one here, you can see pencil to SD card. They're all in here. What happens if you add an additional item here? Let's say, for example, like that. You realize that in your list, the last item, which is glue, is not there. How do you dynamically add them? Let me show you how it's done. First of all, I'm just gonna clear this list item from here. First, you select all your list data and you press Control T to make it into a table. I'm going to leave the checkbox here because my table do have a header here. Click OK. Once that's done, your list data becomes a table. So now I'm going to create a new list here. Select the cell, then you go to data and you go to data validation, and allow, you're going to put to list, and source, you're going to select the data. This is the same way you create a list, but this time around you're selecting a table. Once you select that and list is under allowed, click on OK. Now you have a same thing, you have the same set of a pull down or a list. The last one is SD card here. So if you want to add additional item in here, you select the last item here, press tabs, and then you add your new item in here. And if you go back to your pull down menu here, you'll realize that the last item is added to your list here. You can do another one more if you like, and you can see that list is updated with the last item. If your formula bar is missing from your tool ribbon, this is how you enable it. First, go to File, and on the bottom left hand corner, click on Options, and on this pop-up window there's a menu here. You'll be selecting Advanced, and you need to scroll down until you see a heading called Display. Somewhere in middle of this list here, Display. And then if you look down below, you'll see Show Formula Bar. Put a checkbox here and click OK, and your formula bar will be available for you again. If you have to offset your original time based on hours, minutes, and seconds, this is the formula that you use. Equal original time plus, you're going to have to use a function called time, open parenthesis, the first argument is hours, comma, second argument is minutes, comma, and seconds. Close parenthesis, hit enter, and this is your adjusted time based on hours, minutes, and seconds. To apply the same formula to the rest of the rows, you just drag it, and that is your adjusted time for every row. If you accidentally type YUO for you, Excel automatically corrects it for you. This correction feature is called Autocorrect feature. What Excel does is it keeps a dictionary of all the mistakes that you can make and the possible correction action. And that dictionary, you can edit it or make changes to it using File, Options. On the left menu, click on Proofing, Autocorrect Options, and under the Autocorrect tab, if you scroll all the way down, you will see YUO, which will be replaced with U. Likewise, if you type YUOR, it will be replaced by YOUR. And if you want to create your own replacement, like for example, if I want to replace my name with, say, Bill, hit Add. So I've added. So every time I enter my name, it will be replaced with Bill. If you click OK and OK, now if I type my name and hit enter, you will always be replaced by Bill. This auto correction function is also useful to apply special characters. Like for example, if I go File, Options, Proofing, Autocorrect Options, you can see if you do open parenthesis C, close parenthesis, it'll give you the copyright symbol. If you want to put a euro symbol here, open parenthesis, E, close parenthesis. Let's try that. Open parenthesis, C, close parenthesis. It'll give you the copyright symbol. And for euro, would be open parenthesis, E, close parenthesis, and give you euro. On my YouTube channel, I regularly share Excel tips and tricks every day. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated.